everybody. Session number 24 of Lear, the City of Prisms. Our folks are stuck in Codex, the intertransdimensional library which contains all the knowledge ever that has ever been and ever will be, guarded by two cursed fallen angels. They're on their way back with the reformed paradigm of Lear by the name of Vergis, who's now in child form.
And the
16.
new best paradigm of Lear,
And the new best paradigm,
Jovan.
which may or may not still be the case considering you guys left the city on a pretty bad note.
Hey, which means they haven't had a chance to fire him yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Katros is still out there. He's my man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Katros did run screaming from the building before the carnage really went down.
Yeah, so he's holding on to the sheet for me. He's keeping it warm.
Wait, and what's his name died? So does that mean that? Does this mean that Jovan is now the only paradigm of the year, and he can just like say, "Well, I have a quorum. I now declare today Natural Day."
So he also was never really inundated or whatever
Yeah.
into being a paradigm. So it's kind of like he was handed the job offer, but it was never officially announced.
Oh, invited. I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you. Yeah, not inundated.
But
also, Vergis did explain to you last time that some of the paradigms are actually just constructs created by Parallax.
That's right.
Yeah. So they could be reconstituted if they were destroyed.
Man, you
That's
never
fine.
win.
Because that means
You win all the
eventually
time.
Jovan will also become an android and like be
no, I will
unkillable.
lead this. I will lead this city through wisdom. I will claim this city for wisdom.
Like all the other leaders of the religions before you. All right.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like every religious kind of
No,
sure.
Parallax is like the opposite of wisdom.
All right. Let's see how that goes.
Whippersnapper.
Okay, so so Vergis, you guys are basically you just finished riding through this elevator tube.
Yeah.
And you said Penoit and opened the doors.
Oh yeah.
And walked through. And you're striding back through the right-handed hallway, back past all the weird like circular silver discs and stuff like that, which Vergis, by the way, doesn't even recognize. So he's walking back with all you guys and he's trying to explain. So yeah. The last thing he said was the sealed tomb of Quiz. Do you understand what that means, Daedriel? Let me get on my Frederick voice. Do you understand what that means?
Yes. Treasure unmeasurable.
No. Look.
Didn't you just say sealed tomb?
Yes.
We
Tomb
encountered.
does indeed indicate treasure, but more importantly, it indicates a prisoner.
You understand
Tomb
what that
means dead.
You understand what that bowl is, right?
It's a key to get from one place to another.
As I explained, yes, it's a set of dimensional lockpicks. It's also very, very good at breaking down dimensional locked barriers.
Yes! It's awesome!
Like
I will be the
tombs.
greatest thief of all time!
Well, and getting through dimensional locks.
The paradigms and Parallax himself want to absorb powerful beings so they themselves can grow in power.
Exactly. So if I absorb them first,
Do you understand the implications if they get a hold
Daedriel.
of such a powerful being such as Quiz?
exactly.
Daedriel, I do not believe he's saying how you can't do those things. He's just saying how important other people don't get those things.
Oh no, I
No,
absolutely
it's important
understand.
that he doesn't get them either. Nobody can control that sort of power.
Daedriel, you would be consumed.
Parallax himself is a sentinel construct from far off distant ages, and even he probably will balk at the sense of controlling it, even though he wants to try. You yourself will be a fool to attempt it. A fool, you hear?
Sure. But I'll get there. I'll just train.
No! It doesn't work like that.
Daedriel, there are many treasures in the world that you could have, but not this.
Chris will consume you entirely and use you to further his own aims.
Okay, that's bad. But that doesn't mean that I can't, like... Kiss can't be the
You
only
would
guy
lose
with a
yourself.
tomb. I'll just find, like, smaller tombs. Like, maybe, like, baby Kiss. Or, like...
There are other tombs
cheap
to be
quiz.
You're just as bad as your father.
Maybe
you're
you'll
just
find-
as bad.
Maybe you'll find the tomb of Netro.
Yes!
And Vergis like raises his eyes and goes, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, see, there we go.
Netro has no tomb. Netro resides in the Great Realm
Well, perhaps the
Of elsewhere?
home of
of
Netro.
elsewhere.
We can find the secret to the page in the book.
Huh.
We can knock on his door
Look,
and ask
here,
him himself.
don't worry about it. I'm not going to be stupid enough to go up against Chris
Well,
like that.
the-
Like, there's tons of things I haven't broken into yet that would be much, much more awesome up to that point. Like, for now, like... Well... Like, there's this whole cat dimension that he keeps talking about that seems awesome!
You know, if you want to go there, we can just go there.
But there is a demon trapped there still.
Burgess is like, wait, there's a demon trapped in your wardrobe? No wonder they wanted it.
That is correct.
We cannot fiddle with that lock either.
Wait, do we know that it just has a horn in it, right?
No. We saw the demon manifest.
Stuff like stitched.
It manifested out of the clothing in the wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
My long predecessor stitched together a pocket dimension and the demon Ithel stuff.
Yes, that would explain. Well, I was never really privy to that plot, but that would explain why Lalos was so, adamant about getting the wardrobe. Yeah,
We wanted to release him, and thus Ally would consume Ithel stuff.
You got it. Well, Lalos also wanted control of the wardrobe spell itself. I think he was devising a device to steal it from you. Ah, well.
But without this bow, he'll never be able to complete the device.
No, actually, the bow wasn't subject to that.
He's also dead. So
Lalos is dead?
Yeah.
Oh, did we leave that part out?
Yes.
So you
Yes,
explained
Lalos
this
is dead.
So you might have already said that, but we'll just say
Alright.
it. So he's like strokes his chin and goes, "Huh. Well, we'll see if that stays that way."
It's not surprising. Our storytellings always leave out significant plot points. It's like
there's a lot of things to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Burgess, let us return and make stabilize the city.
Yeah, well,
which by the way,
It is in utter chaos when we left.
it
it'll
does
take. Oh, go on.
it does require that we should probably decide before we return what the story is going to be, because I think it's going to be pretty hard to explain to people that you're the actual Burgess who is Paradigm in the city.
Oh, you understand when we return, we'll have to figure out some way to take down Parallax subvertively, right? We won't be able to be out in the open.
Oh no, we have told you Jovan is now a Paradigm, so we have a man on the inside.
Yes, but from what you also told me, you also left on a rather unfriendly note with Alloy.
Yes, but Jovan has the love of the people, and that has always been superior to
We can
the
rise up and
sanction of-
take back the city.
Unfortunately, that's actually not an option anymore.
If we wish it, I can destroy Lear. I know how to do it.
Also highly unlikely. You would be tampering with a very powerful being. You understand that Parallax has now increased his effectiveness by at least 70%. The powers he's unlocked by devouring Savannahs, we can only assume that's what happened,
Possibly.
would have given him far more abilities than you can possibly imagine. This is what we set in place when we first established Lear all those years ago. We've been building up these systems slowly over time. Parallax will be able to gain a massive amount of power, and some of the earlier scientific systems we put in place to defend Lear and eventually, move it about and see. Well, anyway, point of the matter is, there were more systems in place. The city itself is far more protected than you anticipate, which we can go over later as we devise plans.
Sure, but it seems like are we fairly confident he's devoured Savannahs?
And Burgess scratches his chin and goes, "Well, you said you sent him away."
It was very confusing.
Then he would come back.
Yes.
We
perhaps-
saw him just enter. We saw his arm reach back through the ground,
But perhaps
through the portal
you did?
as we left.
Yes.
Yes.
Huh. Well, then we can assume that's what happened.
We must assume that the worst.
Either way, you must remember I didn't want to come back, and the gods stopped me from coming back. So perhaps Savannahs himself feels the same way. But I say we err on the side of caution and assume that Parallax has absorbed him.
So, considering that you're being so transparent all of a sudden, what about the other factions? Surely they would want to work against this plan if Parallax is going to win.
We must enlist their help.
I mean,
The Illuminators may not. But yes, you're right. The Barbarians and the Keepers would definitely be on our side. Well, at least I hope they would.
Why
It sounds
not?
like your relationship with the Keepers is a little strained at this point as well.
yeah, but I think they may come around once they realize that it's going to be choosing us or like just standing alone against us and Parallax,
Yes.
which seems bad. No, what do you mean the Illuminators would not work with us?
The Illuminators have been fully invested in our setup since the beginning. Some of their higher-ups even know about these plans.
Oh, so their god is like not. They don't have a problem with Parallax being the winner?
The Illuminators have a very specific item they want deep beneath the city of Lear. The deal they made was as long as Parallax gets that to them, they could slightly care less about the city.
So you say if we get it first, we would also have the Illuminators in our pocket.
I suppose that's a possibility.
Yes.
There is a faction of the Illuminators.
We will no doubt need them.
Jovan and I are very excited about going into the Undercroft. It's one of our specialties.
Well, right. That's a plan. There also is a faction of Illuminators, I should mention, that is strongly against Parallax.
Oh.
We must contact them.
I have a question, Vergis. As a paradigm, you are obviously privy to some of the more delicate details with the city of Lear in terms of its.
I ran most of the sentient metal systems while I was a paradigm.
What keeps Lear running?
The sentient metal.
Where's the food come from?
Traders, merchants, ships.
And where do they come from?
Across the Aquamarine, other cities, I believe. I mean, it's a merchant city. We also pull in things from across the wastes from surrounding farmlands.
Yeah, but how? Which one does a lot of the food come from?
I believe when we set it up, it was disseminated among a variety of villages.
My point is that if we were to say restrict food, we could perhaps.
You want to
cause the
lay
city-
siege to Lear so that the
That would
people
involve
rise up?
sealing off the city. We have not that power.
Because I believe Alloy has power, but Alloy wishes to control the city. The city is truly its people, is it not?
Perhaps.
Without the people, what would Alloy have left?
The question is whether or not Alloy could just control the people at this point. You
So
have to
We
understand,
don't know his powers.
sentient metal permeates every part of the city at this point. It has for a while. The power Alloy has over that city and its people is far more vast than you can imagine. As for the food and supplies, sadly enough, Onassis and Nicholas were the two who were more interested in domestic affairs.
Are you saying we
And-
must
and
consider even the
economic.
citizens our enemies?
No, but there may be... And Vergis looks left and right as if he's feeling slightly ashamed. There were experiments we were dealing with mind control at certain points.
How's what's his name? The boy with that lost his arm.
And Vergis narrows his eyes and goes, I'm sorry, who?
Elrat.
Elrat.
Oh, the scamp. Yes. He should still be serving under Parallax. I can't remember if we fully extracted his brain and replaced it with a sentient metal orb controller, or if we let him go on his own free will.
Ooh.
One of the two.
Wow, this story is getting like.
Vergis doesn't seem too perturbed by what he just said, but it's obviously shocking to you guys.
So Vergis, you said that you were primarily in charge of running the sentient metal systems.
I was in charge of upkeeping them and studying them, yes. Parallax powered them. I designed them.
So did you not build for yourself a backdoor? Surely you were conniving enough at your level to have like given yourself a pass should he turn on you.
Exactly. And I was, but unfortunately that back door was tied to me having my additions.
Oh.
Since I no longer have those, I don't have the same uplink capabilities I did before.
Is there a way
Can
to
we reattain those?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really want to go sticking sentient metal back in my body again. If one or you are willing to, I'd be more than happy to perform the operation.
I know at least one
That
of
can
our
only hinder
members
us at that
who-
point with Alloy's ability to control sentient metal, no?
I no longer deal with
Yes.
sentient metal.
Oh,
Although
really? I
I
thought you were in love with sentient metal
somewhat
and
tempted
you want
to
to
try.
marry it.
Didn't
that
want
your
to
hope?
marry it. I wanted to use it for one of my own
wanted to eat it,
experiments,
right?
but it appears to be a piece of a whole. I don't wish to have part of my spell be part of Alloy.
Interesting thing about that, by the way, in my experiments with it, we discovered that if separated from Alloy, or Parallax rather, long enough, the sentient metal will actually take on a separate personality. It will develop a side kind of psychosis or psychology to itself.
How could it
Not
be?
intelligent, mostly just on the level of golem instruction. But it could separate itself from Parallax if gone long enough. Although, Parallax could probably bring it right back under his control again.
But
Thus-
when you were
How could this metal be separated from parallax, you say?
We did experiments where we brought metal out of Parallax's effective range, out into the wastes.
So out into the waste, there's...
Yeah.
Okay.
But Parallax has a range of effect. It's why, as I learned from your story, alloy could only affect things within the house.
Mm-hmm.
That was only where the source of power could contain itself.
We must assume he's expanded that to the city.
It was built up there in Lalos's house, so Lalos could run experiments on it.
But when you were enhanced,
Mhm.
you had somehow managed to sustain your independence even in the presence of parallax.
Yes.
So there is a way of doing it to shield yourself with a firewall or something against the influence.
That was mostly used through Parallax's goodwill, to be honest.
So you don't feel that you could actually retain independence should one of us be willing to try this?
And he nods his head back and forth and goes, you know, it's one of those things where I don't want to give a certain guarantee, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
I'm just saying that how awesome would it be if like you opened your eyes and that there were just two silvery orbs of solid metal. That'd be kind of snazzy.
It would. It would also give you a variety of ocular enhancements.
No.
If we could get enough materials, I could perform such a surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Perhaps one of you would be interested. Or perhaps Adriel.
It does not seem the wisest course.
Well,
I'd be the belle of the ball.
it might not be the wisest course, but it's certainly the most interesting.
I could be like that guy who like helps the paradigm in the stories where like I just stand behind him with my eyes of silver, looking out over the hall, as Jovan presides over the city.
I say we must enlist the aid of the factions.
What if I turned you into a god?
Excuse me.
Whoa.
Verge scratches his head a bit.
I am
You're on-
capable.
Sorry, you're saying all this while you're walking back.
Yes.
Okay.
I am capable.
I mean, you
To
already
turn-
cast spells upon me so that I might fight my foes.
Exactly, but what if you are 100 feet tall? And you could wipe away city blocks with your bare hands.
Yeah, I mean, it could come in handy, I suppose.
You could crush alloy with a single step.
You can do this?
I
Yes.
don't believe alloy could be crushed so
It'd
easily.
be very draining, but yes, I can.
Ever since Merek discovered he had a second action die, he's become much
I think-
more confident in his
Yeah.
abilities.
I've always been able to do this since day one.
What?
And
Yeah.
Large can do that at its highest level.
Yeah.
How have you not put this on the table previously?
Because it were.
He has to
that's
burn
spell
20
burn,
spell points.
20
All
to
that
get, well, I
jazz.
can get it if I get a natural 20.
Yeah.
Jovan was
That'd be
almost
awesome.
killed by a giant sea serpent god.
Yeah, and I
You could
cast
have-
enlarge on him.
It'd been much more useful
That
if you
was
could have
also
made him
fun.
100 feet tall. What
Well-
else are you keeping from us that you can do? Can you raise the dead?
No.
Merek, I already have the powers of a god.
So you
How
you
is Lance
two,
one?
so you two are walking
Natural
ahead
is
of
like
it.
in his god. It was like, what? Wait, no! You're my
I
cleric.
am your conduit, Netro. Act through me.
Yeah.
Natural is worried that you're getting more powerful than him.
So you guys are like walking ahead a bit, and Burgess purposely like hangs back a bit so he's all abreast with Daedriel, and he like leans in a bit and goes,
What
and
if?
so you guys can't hear him. And he goes, Daedriel, when we get to the main room, before they send us back to Myrat,
Oh, that's much simpler.
what would you say to a little bit of change in the plan?
Ooh, I like change.
I don't want the rest of them to know about this. Is there any method you can think of by which way we could persuade these two angels to tell us the location of a certain book?
The problem is not that they're not willing. In fact, they seem like they're very excited to tell us tons of stuff, but there's some enchantment that prevents them from doing so. Like, we've actually talked to them, and it seems like they're actually super open to sharing information, even information that could be deadly and dangerous. It seems like they've been trapped here for so long that they want nothing more than to tell us things.
Well, their original purpose was that they wanted to give people information they weren't meant to know.
Yes, but I can't come up with a way by which to overcome this enchantment. Like, this is more in the purview of Merek's powers. Like, we've tried talking to them, and they have tried to start telling us things, like even what you may be describing. Because we did actually ask them something very similar, and they started to speak, and then something prevented them.
have you ever heard rumor of a codex of sorts, a collection of all the listed planes?
Well, we have a little booklet like that. It's like a Crib Notes version of such a thing.
But I'm talking about, yes, of a much bigger volume. If it exists anywhere, it must exist here.
The angels suggested that such a volume existed,
Really?
but when they started speaking of it, again, they were prevented.
It would be helpful if we could acquire that book before we left this place.
There are probably more books here than stars in the sky.
Which is why we'll need the curators to assist us.
What about,
If you can think of some way to be persuasive with them.
what about the little gargoyles? They seem like they're just administrators and are beyond the scope of the magic that's preventing. If we could somehow get them to say, hey, look, here's the library card version. Can you fetch this book for us? If we could somehow figure out what it was like. Because as far as I can tell, the so-called books in this library are not always books. Some of them are like balls and eggs and like, I'm pretty sure that one is a silly putty ball. And like, but yeah, I wouldn't begin to understand what this thing would look like. Like, it could be a silvery disc, or it could be a crystal, or it could be a carved block of wood.
Right, there are a fair amount of variables. Well, if you can think of some method, and keep it a secret from the others.
You don't think that Jovan and Merek would have better insight into how we might acquire this thing? They're very good at this sort of thing, and once they're super useful. I mean, they object to many courses of action, but deep down inside, they're curious guys. Like, you know, every once in a while we go to places and they go, oh, you know, don't eat that heart, you know, or don't open that lock. And then in the end, they're like, it's all right. Let's see what happens.
Perhaps. Merek is a wizard, and by nature jealous and contriving to gather knowledge for himself. I wouldn't trust him with the information of it. And
He is,
Jovan,
however, often distracted by his own issues.
And Jovan has a streak of goodness running through him that may stop us from doing more untoward things that we would require to get the book.
But it is Jovan's very commitment to wisdom and knowledge that may allow him to come along with this idea. After all, it must break his heart that these angels are trapped here and unable to speak freely. If he were to realize that this is a path of offering freedom to some people who are trapped, I'm sure he would be in favor of it. Jovan's all about releasing the captive and like helping the downtrodden.
Well, by all means, if you trust your companions. And he gestures towards them.
Yes, by all means.